Oh, yeah. All right.
Mr. Chavez, call up the drink.
Okay, all right.
Let me see this.
Okay, first witness. Mr. Clerk, let me show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 221, 222, 223, 224, and 225. And ask you to first look at those and see if you can identify those.
Yes, ma'am.
And what are those documents?
This is a court order for...
Excuse me, sorry. And I'm not objecting, I just want the individual exhibits identified as what they are by exhibit number.
Okay.
All right. The petition for appointment of guardians, 221. The order appointing guardian is 222. The parental consent of Levi Chavez is 223. The parental consent of Tara Cordova is 224. And the birth of the child is 225.
And yes, ma'am, I do recognize those documents.
And these are filed certified documents. Do these accurately reflect what happened when you did the petition for guardianship, for temporary guardianship?
This is exactly what they are, ma'am.
I'd move for admission of 221 to 225.
No objection.
Will be admitted.
Now, Mr. Cordova, why did you apply for appointment for guardian for the unborn child who later became named Andrea Cordova?
Well, as you heard testimony, that Tara was a minor at the time she had Andrea, our first granddaughter. And Tara was covered under our insurance, but the unborn child at the time would not have been covered under insurance. So I met with Levi Chavez and his family and asked them, did you want to contribute towards insurance or coverage for this baby to be born? And due to financial difficulties within their family, Okay. Well, at that point, they decided that I should cover the child under my insurance. So upon going in and looking into this for Levi and Tara to have insurance for this child, my insurance denied me because you have to have a guardianship. I was not the biological parent of this child. So therefore, you're denied. So I went back to Levi and his family and asked, the only way I could cover this child is guardianship. And at that point, I didn't see that to be a problem. They agreed, we met, and they signed the papers. It was drawn up by our attorney. We went out and got an attorney. But at the same time, they got an attorney, and they wanted to make sure that the documents read right. I was fine with that. But this court order is for guardianship due to insurance. It's for insurance. It's not to take anybody's child away.
All right, and let me show you what's been marked as stage 226 for identification.
Can you approach the bench?
Mr. Chavez, did you,
Cordova?
Mr. Cordova, sorry.
It's happening a lot in this.
I know, and it hasn't happened to me. This is
It
the
must be
first
because
time.
it was Tara Chavez, correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Mr. Cordova, did you then insure your granddaughter, who later became known as Andrea Cordova at the time?
It was Cordova de Chavez, yes.
Cordova
Andrea
de
Lee
Chavez.
Cordova de Chavez, yes.
So it was Andrea L. Cordova de Chavez.
Yes.
And when was the effective date of that insurance?
On the date of her birth, which was 2/10/98.
And was that under your Presbyterian health plan?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, Mr. Chavez,
Cordova?
Mr. Cordova, see?
It happens a lot.
I know. It's been a long day for me already.
I understand.
Mr. Cordova, at the time of your daughter's burial, when she got cremated,
Yes.
did you get ashes, part of the ashes for your daughter?
Yes, upon request for a chaplain from APD approached me and asked me if there's anything that they could do for our family. And at that point, I had just learned that Tara will be buried in Santa Rosa. I wasn't aware of that, and that her ashes would be taken there. So at that point, I asked the chaplain if I could have ashes of my daughter. And apparently he took off, went to a pharmacy and got a little urn, and it looks like an egg. It's about this big with a little stand, and he gave me some ashes of Tara that day. Yes.
That's all I have. I've got the witness.
Was it at a service when you got when you asked this chaplain for ashes?
Yes, sir.
Which service was it?
It was the burial. It was the funeral. There was a rosary the Thursday night, and Friday was the funeral.
Okay, and the funeral took place in Santa Rosa?
No, sir. It took place at a Catholic church within Los Lunas, downtown.
Okay. And so the discussion with the chaplain occurred at the Catholic church in Los Lunas?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And are you aware that under New Mexico state law that the next of kin, who's Levi Chavez, would have to authorize release of ashes?
No, sir. I was never in that position.
Okay. And did you speak to the director of the funeral home, Mr. Robert Ramsey, when you were requesting these ashes?
I did not, sir.
Okay.
The first time I heard that she was going to Santa Rosa,
Okay.
and
Yeah,
the
you
chaplain approached, that's the time I asked for those
Okay.
ashes.
And you did testify on direct about that her ashes went to Santa Rosa, right?
That is correct.
And I'm talking about during the state's case in chief. You testified that the ashes went to Santa Rosa, right?
I'm telling you right now, that's where I believe the ashes went.
Okay. All right. But you didn't mention a second urn when you testified the first time around?
No,
Right.
sir. It was never posed. The question was never posed to me.
I understand, and that's understandable. So, did you see the ashes at the funeral service?
Yes.
They were in a sealed urn and under a glass dome that the Daniels...
Not originally, sir. Not originally. They were carried in, and the sealed glass on the side panel was, that piece of wood was made by Levi's Uncle Ernie.
Okay.
And the glass, you take off a piece of trim and the glass slid up. So, no, sir, it was not fully sealed.
Okay.
Okay, it was a removable piece of trim.
Okay. And are you aware that the Daniels Funeral Home requires any division of ashes to be done by the director of the funeral home, Mr. Ramsey's, under his supervision at the Daniels Funeral Home in Albuquerque?
Are you telling me right now, sir, that I have illegal ashes in my living room of my daughter? Is that what you're telling me, sir?
Of course not. Of course
Okay.
not. I'm just asking you if you're aware, first of state law, and you weren't. Then I'm asking you if you're aware of the Daniels Funeral Home policy.
No, sir, I'm not aware of that.
Okay.
I've never been put in this position
I
to be
understand.
aware of that, sir.
Of course.
Okay.
I'm just wanting to see what you know and what you don't know.
Okay.
Okay. So, so was it a long time? Was it enough time for this chaplain to go to Daniel's Funeral Home in Albuquerque, where the funeral director's offices are, where the supervision of the ashes had to take place?
No, sir.
Okay. And so I guess is your testimony that the chaplain just like went back and scooped up a handful of ashes and put them in this
God
egg-shaped
forbid, sir.
container?
I hope that didn't happen, sir.
Okay. Do you know how it happened?
I just know that the chaplain approached me, and within a half hour, he came back to me with this little urn.
Okay. Did Levi and or did the urn that you have ultimately got match the urn, so that there was a big urn and a little urn, and you all were given a little urn that matched the big urn? Do you recall that?
No, the urn that we have is red in color with a black scroll on it.
Okay. And you did testify in the state's case in chief that you don't like Levi Chavez one single bit, right?
Objection beyond the scope of direct, and
Oh.
it's already been asked and answered in direct. We didn't talk about, and any of that is not relevant to what he's being asked now, whether you liked Levi or didn't like Levi. This has to do with getting an urn with ashes of his daughter.
Your Honor, the purpose of the rebuttal, according to Ms. Keener, was to establish credibility. This witness is now being called for a separate purpose, and I'm asking questions related to that, to this testimony this afternoon and contested credibility.
You can answer that question.
Okay.
No, sir, I do not like Levi Chavez.
Okay. Now, do you have the exhibits that Ms. Keener just handed you in front of you?
No, sir, I do not.
Okay. So Levi Chavez, you all hired an attorney Albert Chavez and Levi hired an attorney named Dorothy Sanchez. Do you remember that?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I don't recall Dorothy Sanchez, but I do remember him hiring an attorney.
Okay. Female?
Yes.
Okay. And do you recall that this wasn't something that was just settled right away, that there was a dispute and that it had to go to arbitration? Do you recall that?
No, sir. The arbitration was due to how we would separate holidays as per Levi's request.
Okay. Just want to show you, because I'm not accusing you of being a liar. I don't get that impression.
I don't get that impression, sir.
Okay. I'm going to show you State's Exhibit 222.
Your Honor, may I approach with his glasses?
Sure.
Distance.
Sure.
I'm getting old, Mr. Cerna.
Both of us. Here you go, sir. This is State's Exhibit 222. That's the order, correct?
Yes, that is the order.
Okay. And in the petition, you indicated that the petition you wished to be appointed as guardians to clearly define the rights of Joseph P. and Teresa Cordova, and further wish to allow health insurance. So it's for two purposes, right?
That is correct. I had to have, in case Andrea was ever hurt and Levi and Tara were not around, I wanted to be able to make the decision on what to do with this child if she was hurt. Take her
Okay.
to what hospital, wherever we traveled.
Okay, that's understandable. But so it was to define you and your rights, wife, with regard to the child, and to allow health insurance.
That is correct.
Okay, and so now looking at the order, State's Exhibit 222, the order doesn't say anything about insurance, does it?
No, sir, it doesn't.
Okay, and the order doesn't say it's temporary. It says you're appointed joint guardians, right?
That is correct.
Mm-hmm.
So joint guardian was with Tara, Levi, Teresa, and I? Yes.
Doesn't it say it is hereby ordered that Joseph P. Cordova and Teresa S. Cordova, and they are hereby appointed joint guardians of baby Cordova de Chavez from the moment of birth?
But the joint was both Tara, Levi, Teresa, and I.
Okay, but the court order doesn't say that Teresa and Levi have any
That was the intent
rights.
of the order, though.
I know.
Okay.
I know that's your testimony. I'm just asking, just so the jury will know, that the order itself, signed by the judge and drafted by your attorney, does not mention Levi or Tara. It only mentions that you and your wife get or become joint guardians, right?
That's what it appears to be.
Okay, and it doesn't say temporary either, does it?
No, it does not.
In fact, it says a guardianship shall continue till further order of the court, right?
That's correct.
Okay. Now, regarding that armoire or cabinet and dresser that you were talking about, your civil lawsuit against Levi Chavez that is still pending.
That's right. It's on hold right now.
It's
Yes.
on hold right now. Okay.
Yes.
And your civil lawsuit alleges that Levi Chavez stored his gun, his Glock, in that armoire and was negligent in doing so, right?
That's what the first complaint is, yes.
Okay. And he was negligent because he knew
I
that...
have to object to this line of questioning. What he was brought back for was to whether or not, and that's, first of all, whatever's alleged in the civil case is not relevant in the criminal case. And secondly, he was called in rebuttal to merely talk about whether or not Mr. Chavez asked him if he wanted that armoire and the dresser. It is not only not relevant, it's beyond the scope of asking what is filed in the civil case and what was alleged in a criminal complaint in the civil case filed by a lawyer, not filed by Mr. Cordova.
Signed by Mr. Cordova.
But it's filed by a lawyer and it's a civil case.
Sir, your response?
Yes. Mr. Cordova and the Chavez family, as the clients in any civil lawsuit, have to file a verification page saying everything contained in the lawsuit is true and accurate to the best of their knowledge, and that the lawsuit that the Cordova family filed, the first complaint says that Levi Chavez was negligent in storing the gun in that cabinet, that he did store the gun in that cabinet, and he was negligent because Tara was despondent.
Mr. Cerna, I am not the plaintiff on that lawsuit.
What's the relevance of that? Or where are you going with that?
Where am I going with that? Mr. McKay tried to suggest that the gun was never in the house alone with Tara.
Okay. All right, move on from that, Mr.
Okay. So now your testimony in before lunch was that Levi never gave you any of Tara's stuff, right?
I want to correct that.
You do. I bet you do. Go ahead.
Oh, yes. Because upon a visit, the children did bring home a box, and that's how I obtained the sketch pad
Exactly.
of Tara.
Exactly.
But Levi never gave me that.
What do you think?
It was.
Go ahead.
Thank you. The children said, "This is Mom's stuff that we wanted you to have." So I took it as Levi sent this over. I did.
Okay.
But as per the children, this is stuff that we wanted you to have. Okay? And they brought it over to Teresa and I.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
So it was a box. He didn't call me up, Mr. Cerna, and say, "Would you like this armoire? Would you like this dresser?"
Hold on.
That was
Hold on.
what was
Hold
stated
on. Your
yesterday,
Honor,
sir.
he's not responsive to the question. He's going off on a monologue.
I apologize, Your Honor. I apologize.
And Mr. Cordova, Ms. Keenan will give you a chance to explain.
Okay.
Okay. So you think that it was the little kids that had the decision-making ability to decide what of the community property came back to you?
When I was 10 years old, Mr. Cerna, I could have made that decision, and Andrea, being the sharp little girl that she is, who's doing well in school, as I hear, okay, I would say yes, because she knew how close we were, Mr. Cerna.
Well,
She knew what wanted to go into that box.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, thank you for correcting the record on the testimony you gave earlier about Levi never having provided you any of Tara's stuff. Thank you.
Ms. Keenan.
Just a couple of questions. When you filed for that guardianship, Mr. Cordova, how old was your daughter?
She was 15 years old.
And how old was the defendant?
He was 16 at the time.
They were both minors.
Yes, ma'am.
And when you said this morning that he didn't give you any stuff, were you talking about furniture?
Yes, ma'am. I was talking about all the furniture in the house.
Thank you. Nothing further.
Mr. Cordova, you may sit down.
Thank you.
Okay, do you have any other witnesses?
No, Your Honor, no further rebuttal.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we're at the end of all the evidence, and what we're going to do is, I had discussed closing arguments with the attorney probably a couple of weeks ago, and we decided it would probably take the better part of one day to get in all the closing argument that you will hear. And, I also told them I did not want to break it up into two separate days, because I think in fairness to both sides, it should all happen at one time. The jury instructions are done. Those won't take me all of 20 minutes to read to you, and then after that, the attorney will do their closing arguments. But rather than starting today and breaking it up into two pieces, what I want to do is I want you folks to be here at 8:45 in the morning, and we'll start at 9. Then after closing arguments, what I will do is I will let 6 of you know who are the alternates, and I'll let you know by number as requested by the jury. And, the 12 who are the permanent jury will begin their deliberations tomorrow sometime in the afternoon. So let's be in recess until tomorrow. We'll be here at 8:45.
All right.
Let's see about 10 minutes, and any council, we have over, the instructions are pretty much done, except for I think Mr. Serna had an issue that we need to discuss. Because tomorrow morning, what I wanna do is get straight here, read the instructions, and go into argument.
Sounds good.
We give it about 10-15 minutes, I'll come back up.
Sure. Okay.
That's why I came up. Sure, that'd be great. Yeah, that'd be great. So just email it to me. No, that's that'll be fantastic. Thanks. Yeah, no, that's fine. Thanks. That's fine. Yeah, if you get those, then that'd be great. Yeah, which is the bunch of. Yeah,
At the holiday.
that's exactly where we'll be.
Not yet.
No, just because it's so much to.
So much.
You can't get the boxes out. But believe me.
Okay, all your expenses are. I'm gonna look at a couple things.
Did you want the 22, 26?
But it didn't come in.
Okay, okay, that's right. So 221 to 225, they're all
Yes.
good? Okay. Of course you do. Well, I guess, but they may, I'm afraid that they may need them for whatever they're gonna do, I don't know what they're doing now. We're gonna get back on the record, did you hear that? Where's your hearing device? I just told you, when you are, it's over, and I have to go through these minutes real quick, Oh, okay. I do this like so this is like that works. Okay, yeah. What is it?
follow them around, right. And I wanna do that tomorrow too.
That's why it's
Because, you know, I can't help myself, I pace around and I move around.
That's normal, you guys are addressing the jury, so that
Right.
makes sense. She's,
Fine with me.
do you have a problem if, we turn the podium facing the jury for the closing arguments? I assume you guys are running.
It'll automatically be turned that way.
It wasn't for opening though, you guys face that. Is it normally?
That's not how it works. It's facing the motion. And I have a computer on.
Yeah, but they walk in front of it, that was my concern.
Yeah, that's
It
not.
was turns and people went in front of it.
Yeah, that's the thing is
I mean, we're gonna be, I'm sure Mr. Cerna, just like me, we're gonna be.
Walking all over the place.
We're gonna be all over here, so
Yeah.
really the podium, other than it's a
Other than
stand,
keeping our papers,
it's a
papers
prop.
on, yeah.
It's only used as a prop, it's not, we're gonna be, if you're.
If you wanna mic it there, maybe you
we're
should
gonna-
mic it over here.
Cause this is where we're
Well,
gonna be.
that's what I was saying,
At your
Cassie,
table
it'd be much more effective if there was a microphone over there.
Yes,
Put one on there.
cause that's where we're gonna be, is in
Nice
here.
venue, isn't it?
We're gonna be talking in here, and this is our table.
That's right. Yeah, I'll do whatever you guys.
Yeah, you
I mean, that's,
I mean, maybe if
that's
you
just
go
telling you
in
where
front
I
of
know
it,
we're gonna
like,
be.
the edge of of our table and.
Alright.
So.
So you can actually put your mic on as well.
There you go. I've done those before. That was a trouble.
Well, two things would be nice.
You ever notice that?
That might be just for you guys to put in if it was over there, that would be on a separate channel, and then I guess.
Really?
Turn, it's not here, we like the podium, I get over there. So basically, you got.
I didn't remember.
Yeah, it's turned, like, say,
Right, that's the problem, right, they're all
Anyway,
over here. They don't have to be.
the thing I remember about Sedapio is,
I'll check with you.
at one point, I've had lots of trials where you have wireless mics and stuff for this stuff. I've been at trials where you walk around with a cord. Anyway, this one was like really old fashioned, it is, I'm talking about a trial that probably happened in 1980, something like that.
Oh, yeah,
And
they're all.
so they had this big
they're all going.
fat thing for the.
They're all coming in embedded.
And it was like a wireless microphone.
Yeah, they.
And so we had
So, yeah, people are, it's something.
And they have the mic on, and Sedapio goes, they have a vision of the. Yeah, right. And then he walks back and the others were sitting there.
These mics pick up pretty good.
And then, at that time I was a PA and he was a defense lawyer, public defender. So then, the jury's all still there, the witness, the judge, everybody's all there. And he comes walking back into the courtroom, and he walks into the courtroom, the whole jury's like, ah! He goes to his broadcast, he goes, close this door.
I'm sure it'll be like the statements, they'll turn the podium. But
Yeah,
both of
I
them
like
ended up
that.
walking around over here a lot, and what, the question is, you're right, you know, microphone over here, so I can hear those guys, talking to the jury, you think that's okay? It'd be, I can make it real small and, you know, here.
Okay.
That's fine. Be okay?
Yeah.
All right. So we're good, Cassie. Cassie was talking to the attorneys about staying at the podium, but both of them they don't wanna be anchored to the podium. So
Yeah.
that'll work good for everybody. Great.
Yeah, one of the calls we had, I had somebody that was watching. They said, wow, we can't hear them, they keep moving away from the podium, they told me, we can't tell you. They wonder.
You don't have that kind of control?
I don't really care whether the televan can hear me if it's.
Now, what do we wanna do?
Can the judge order them to have to stay at the podium?
Gosh, I
So,
don't know.
if it's still- Cause we, for the closing statement, they're gonna be talking with us.
You wanna take it off right now?
Let me just double check. Nothing else has happened.
No.
Yeah, we're done. Just pull out.
We don't wanna go around.
Now, they're gonna be coming back here.
Do you want me to bring it up tomorrow?